Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Curtis's Practical Pilots collection. It's called the Practical Pilots collection because Curtis is a pilot and he sees his collection as a very practical one. And for a watch collector, anyone collecting mechanical watches, that's sort of an interesting description. Okay, so let's get started. The first one is a Rolex GMT Master, which is just is a neat watch. I like it a lot. When I was looking at for a GMT, that was one of the ones that was on my list, and ended up getting something else, but still I like that watch. This is a 16750, which is one of the older ones, but it's a good watch. And one of the things about a GMT, and I've mentioned this before, especially for a pilot, is that all of the scheduling is done on Zulu time, which is GMT time. So a pilot with that, it's practical, neat watch. Then next there's Omega Speedmaster Professional Moon Watch. This is an interesting one. It's got the Hesalite crystal, which is different than sapphire, but it's a very interesting crystal. This one is got on a metal bracelet. Both of those are on metal bracelets, and it's got a chronograph with it, the part of the moon watch. All right, moving right along. Now, this is of the entire collection. This is my very favorite, and I didn't even know it existed. Now, this is a Reverso. And it's the Grand Reverso 976. And the thing that surprised me about it is when you flip it over, instead of seeing another dial face or just, hunk of metal there, instead you see the movement. And to me, that's every watch should have two dials. One dial shows the time, and the other dial shows the movement. And this one is just super cool. I like it a lot. As a Grand Reverso. Curtis was a pretty big guy, and he was talking about that. He's got a good sized wrist, a little over almost 8-inch wrist. So that's this is the big one on that is neat. So this is a wonderful watch, and to me. And given the context of Curtis's other watch, this is very much of the, date night dress watch. All right, moving right along. Now this one is interesting. It's a Marathon GSAR MSMC logo watch by Marathon. And Curtis is a former Marine. He flew Hueys primarily with search and rescue. And the Marathon watch had the Marine Corps logo on it, and it also had on the band a compass. So this is a cool watch. It's not high horology. It's just a cool watch. I mean, it'd be a neat one to have. I like it. Okay. Now, the next two are sort of interesting. One is the SIN 104 STSAA, and love the German reference numbers. And it's got a date on it, and it's automatic. And sort of a very much of a what they'd call like a Flieger looking watch on there. Okay, now next to it is the Otis Rectangular, Complications, Date, GMT, and Moon Phase. That's a lot. Now, one of the things that Curtis said is that for him, the Moon Phase was very practical because he said a lot of the flying he did when he was flying the helicopters, they would use these night vision goggles, which would really light up the stars, and it was very handy for navigation. So the phases of the moon, for him at least, was something that was very practical. I had said the notion of a practical pilot. So he's got that Aura Sports, cool watch. All right. Now these next two is the Glycine Aramine Base 22 GMT. Now, this was originally from 1953, not this particular one, but that's when the Glycine Aramine first came out. And it predated the Rolex GMT. And he says after, especially if you're worried about losing or hurting your watch. Curtis said he started flying with this one because leaving the Rolex at home. I can understand that. And then he said he's got this Glycine Combat Sub. And it was funny. He had a comment about, I expect I used to be a Marine. It's sort of we jarheads love this kind of stuff. It said combat. So I thought it was funny. And then it did the background on it was sort of this colorful, it looked like a blanket or something. It's a cool watch. Got on the inside, you have the kind of the 24 hours, and then you have the 60 minutes numbers on the index, and then on the outer side you have the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, the time elements so that you can move around. All right. Further on, now these are three from the Practical Pilot. Now these describes as three low-end watches. They were about $300 a piece or less. And there's the Seiko SK007, which is Seiko that I happen to like a lot. It's got a date on it and a bezel and so forth. Like I said, these are ones that are considered low-end. The middle is a Bulova Lunar Apollo 15. That's a quartz watch. It's got all of the gizmos in it, and finally an Orient Bambino, and it's got the date indicator on it, and it's actually sort of looks more like the kind of watch that you'd have for more of a dress watch, or even an office watch. All right, now the final ones that he's got here, he talks about these are ones that he could wear where he went to places where people stole what you had. He flies internationally, and there's some places you can go internationally. He said that the cabin of the airplane gets things go missing sometimes, and so these are watches he can wear under those circumstances. Seiko 5. This is one of the watches I happen to like a lot because when the Seiko 5 first came out, it had all of these innovations that nobody else had. To me, it's got a soft spot for that one. And he's got a G-Shock. He has a little star by the ones he considers classic. He says a G-Shock. Anyone will recognize a G-Shock as a classic, and he's right. I think if you got a G-Shock, you're ready for anything, whatever goes on. Finally, they got the two Timexes. One's called the Timex Allied 3 GMT, and the other is a Navy Harbor. Both, I think, are quartz watches. The Harbor is for sure, and I think the other one is as well. Okay, now again, these are what you need to watch, and something may happen to it. You don't want to take your best watches. I'd leave that Jaeger-LeCoultre at home as well. All right, so what would I suggest? Well, one of the ones that I'd suggest is one I'm wearing, and the reason what I'm really suggesting isn't this particular watch, which certainly one I like is a Parmigiani hemispheres. And the reason that I'd suggest it is that GMT is great, but dual times, you have a little more flexibility. So you go to places where they're on the half hour for the rest of the world, like India, you can set it to the half hour, and then you have your home time or local time or other time placed somewhere else. So that would be a dual time watch of some sort. I happen to like the hemispheres because not only does it have dual time on it, dual dials, but it also has dual night and day, and so you can easily see if it's daylight here, it may be night somewhere else, or vice versa. Okay, well, listen, I'd like to hear your what recommendations you'd have for a frugal, practical pilot. What do you say? Hey, you know, it's a neat collection, but this is what I would suggest, and I think you'd like it. All right, so until next Friday, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection. Oh, by the way, too, remember, we're running out of time. It's already August 10th, and August 31st is the last day you can put your entries into the Grand Prix picks. Lots of free watches.